Triple Shot Mindset. So it all starts out with attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It all begins with attitude. Attitude of, it makes a difference in your life, would you say?
Attitude?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
And if people want to be successful, do you think they understand that the attitude you have internally bleeds out onto your entire life? Do they get it or not?
Most people don't get it.
They don't get it.
Most people don't get it.
The people we're going to talk about today, who we love.
Who we love, by the way, we love them.
We adore them. But they don't get it.
I don't know if they have the awareness to understand how that can bleed into every part of their life and drown it into the cesspool that they're heading into.
Well, let's help them understand.
Let's. I think attitude for me is going against my ego, the egotistical version of me. And I don't know if a lot of people can go against it, because our first reaction is to go against someone who's attacking us, who is giving us advice, who is kind of shifting our paradigm. And we want to make sure that we're right and we're protected. And I was like that. I mean, I was like that throughout my life. Anyone told me my nose hair is growing out, I'm like, your nose hair is growing out too, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't look in the mirror and say, oh yeah, shit, my nose hair is growing out. Let me pluck them out. Or as Kevin and I do sometimes, we wax them out.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. It's like a porcupine.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway. So I used to be like that. And I thought that whoever threw a punch, or I thought they were throwing a punch, I should throw one back at them. And after my divorce, I realized when I sat down with Glenn Stearns, the billionaire on the Discovery Channel show, Undercover Billionaire, he was a really down-to-earth kind of person. And he said you have to have humility. And humility will make you successful, not just in business, but in relationships and everything else. And you got to be able to listen. You got to be able to hear people. And you be able to pivot. If someone tells you you're doing something wrong, instead of putting up your boxing gloves and say, no, you're doing things wrong, I'm doing things right, you ask them, why did you say that? And then listen to them and hear your audience tell you what you're doing wrong. And 9 times out of 10, they're doing it because maybe they want to be assholes, but they're also doing it because they see something in you that you don't. So my lunch with Glenn Stearns was a beautiful lunch. We had fish. But he told me how he went from being a dropout to being a multi-billionaire. He told me how he went from a divorce to being friends with his wife, with his ex-wife, and giving her a job at one of his companies as a vice president of whatever. And he said, if you really turn around and look at things differently, life will change. And I think that was one of the pivotal moments in my life, because up until then, everyone around me said, oh, if your ex-wife throws a jab, you throw 2. If she does that, you do this just to piss her off. And once you do put things in perspective and take ego out of it, you realize that if you go with the soul, with the heart, and you do things because it's the right thing to do, it changes you. It changes your trajectory. And people cannot insult me anymore. Because if they insult me, I'm going to see if there's any truth to it and pivot and make myself better, or it's a reflection of them. So people could be barking over here, you're this, you made me miserable, you're bad, designer, you made I quiet that in my head, and I look at the truths within those insults. And I take those and I pivot and I make it right for me and how I can improve from that. So I want to be a victor in all this. I think a victim mentality doesn't do any good. someone like my mom or people I've known in my life, friends, who always pin their demise on another person, on a circumstance. And we all have to go through that. We have deaths in our family, we have divorces, we have breakups, we have bankruptcies. But if you stake your identity to that, then you're going to go down with the ship further and further every time. So I try to detach myself. And as I told your mom in one of our podcasts, I don't want to be a divorced dad. I don't want to be a single father, because I think those kind of pull you down and it attaches some sort of a negative connotation, societal negative connotation to it. So it's just different. If you want to be victorious in life, you have to take criticism as your fuel. If you've been a victim in your life, then you're going to take criticism as more of the same and just perpetuate those stories you've been telling yourself.
And that's our show, folks.
That was short.
I'm just kidding. No, that was great. But now we got to get into the real life examples. And let's summarize all of that for the viewer, the listener. What I got from that as I listened to your poetic, melodic reflection on attitude and the people in your life is that if we pin our so-called failures, challenges, and suffering on other people, we have made ourselves into victims.
Yeah.
Who is that helping?
It's helping nobody, though.
Nobody.
No.
It's trash attitude.
My mom, love her.
Love
when
her.
I
Love
make
her.
examples of my mom, my ex-wife, my brother, you,
That never happens.
it comes from a very loving place.
I'm perfect.
Right. It comes. I'm not saying they're bad people.
Yeah.
You know, I could be a good-looking guy, which I am, by the way, and you could say, "Hey, you need to shave." That doesn't take away from my cuteness, does it? No, it doesn't. But my mom is a great example of someone who spent 40 years of her life being a victim, saying that your dad did this, your dad did that. I was never, for example, being treated the way I need to be treated. Okay, well, you had 40 years since to change that, to go see a shrink.
Has she had more life now out of the marriage than she did in the marriage?
Explain.
Like, I don't know her age, but has she lived more as a single woman? Okay.
Yeah.
So she's had more life as a single woman, but that time as a married woman defined her entire life.
And victimizing herself and villainizing my dad, that would be a reaction for most people who are unwilling to look at themselves. Yeah. Right? So if she's unwilling to look at why she chose my dad in the first place, why she put up with him in the first place for 10 years, then you cannot be a victim. Yeah. You're a co-conspirator in your life.
Ooh, that's good. Let's slow it down and focus on that real quick, because I know all too many people who are exes, and what they're fixated on is how much time their ex wasted of theirs. He or she or they wasted my life, my time, my this.
My best years.
But what about you? Where were you during this?
Yeah.
Not you, Artie, but they, them, the person I'm talking about, whoever they may be. It's all of them. Yeah. What you're not changing, you're choosing. You said that once. I have a theory that the lower someone's self-worth is, the more of your time they're going to waste if you let them. The more of your money they're going to waste if you let them. The more of your energy they're going to waste if you let them. Yeah. That is not their fault. That's who they are. How do we solve incompatibility? We create space. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. You can love someone and still say bye, because otherwise you're letting them vampirically suck, and not in the fun way.
If someone tells you, I wasted 10 years of my life waiting for XYZ to happen, the door was always open. You're not bound to stay with that person forever. But you take the 90% that was good, which, by the way, I don't know any relationship that's better than 90% compatibility. But you take the 90%, you throw it out with the bathwater, you say, but he didn't do this, this, and this. But he did 100 other things that you're not
Yeah.
willing to look at. And you were in that life, you were enjoying it, you were spending time with, your family that you created.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you change your mind, just because something started, how do you would call it? It just, like a Velcro, just comes apart.
Mm-hmm.
I've often sat in a line, left turn line, let's say to turn into Costco. And I see all the cars ahead of me with their blinkers on. And I've said this before. Even if they were all Teslas, the same Model Y, the same color, the same year, eventually those things are going to start blinking out of sequence, right? Initially, when people get together, those lights are sequentially blinking together, right? But eventually, because no one's 100%, even me and Kevin are worlds apart.
That's correct.
Those blinking lights will start flashing at different intervals, right? Doesn't mean they're incompatible.
That's right.
It just means that they're showing their differences after time.
Ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows. So you have to understand that when you're in a relationship and you've attracted someone at that point in your life that you needed or you wanted or you emulated, so you're now together. Just because you change your mind, just because those things are happening, doesn't mean it's a bad person. Doesn't mean you're a victim. Doesn't mean any of that.
Yep.
It just means you guys grew apart, your needs and wants changed a little bit, and now you're free to go do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Or a lot of it.
But don't
maybe
villainize.
They changed completely.
But don't villainize the other person.
Correct.
Just because you decide to hitch a ride with them for 10, 15 years of your life.
Mm-hmm. You villainize them, you victimize yourself. You're not helping anybody in that. But the one who's really going to suffer is you for doing that. Because you have now removed agency from yourself. You've removed empowerment from yourself. You're not acknowledging, yes, I stayed there for 10 years. And any one of those days of those years, I could have had a clear-cut conversation. I could have set boundaries, and I could have changed the situation.
Yeah.
I also could have surrendered to it. There are options, so many options. But when we look back and go, oh, what a waste that was. So you think you're a powerless person then?
Yeah.
How will that help you? Now, we know folks who are humble, grassroots folk. They keep to themselves. They work. We know folks who, and in this industry, because branding and marketing is part of what we do, in other endeavors, we know people who are influencers, creators, entrepreneurs. And it doesn't matter where you are, really. We see this same attitude in both, the victim. It's really interesting to see it, though, with the entrepreneurial types. And speaking from my vantage point, it's interesting to see it with the grassroots folks. And it appears in two different ways.
Yeah.
With the grassroots folks, they're usually blaming everything on conspiracy, powers that be. That's their way of being a victim.
Yeah.
I can't control anything because the big bad man up there, the cabal, the government, the system, it's rigged. I got no power. I'm just here. Then you got the entrepreneurs. I built myself up from nothing. I had nothing. I was shit on my entire life, born into abuse, born into this, born into that. Now, the funny thing is, whether they're clients or associates, we see the behind the scenes of it all.
Yeah.
What light can you shed on
Boy,
what you've seen?
don't put me on the spot. However, I think there's a tendency of these victim people to take it one step further, let's say, in business as an entrepreneur. Now they not only painted themselves as the victim in a relationship, and I was a single dad, I was a single mom, I had to do everything myself, which you probably didn't, but you're just trying to...
No one does anything all by themselves.
So that is one aspect. So when they want that triumphant, I just left this person, I just did it on my own, they want to create that from bottom to where they are, make it seem like it's a big distance that they've covered, right? The same thing with business owners. Some of them say, I was a high school dropout. My mom was mean to me. I didn't get enough jelly on my peanut butter sandwich. But look at me now.
Yep.
And I think that's just creating more of a victim mentality for yourself. Because I didn't get that much jelly on my peanut butter sandwich either. But I don't have to mention that. I don't have to create that as part of my DNA to make my accomplishments seem more worthy.
Yeah. I wasn't even allowed to have jelly.
You weren't.
True story.
Yeah. So we have to, and I think that's more of a narcissistic trait, isn't it?
Yes.
That not only are you a victim, but you have to overcome so many more obstacles that you've created for yourself to show the audience that, look at me, I'm a victor, but deep down you're a victim.
There's this intense interest in curating the story. I'm not so sure about narcissism, but I do know that being obsessed with control is that.
Yeah.
Like, I have to curate my image, my story, my everything, because I need you to see me the way I want you to see me.
Right.
If you're struggling so much to curate the perception that others have of you, you're not happy.
No.
You ain't.
I think the more you create that persona that now I've made it, now I'm free of the grasp of the villain who was holding me down.
Correct.
The more you try to show off that you have made it, I think there's so many demons inside of you still living. And you're not willing to look at that. You're not willing to look deep down. And when I was having my lunch with Glenn Stearns, undercover billionaire, by the way, what he taught me is that you got to be humble. You've got to put people first. You got to, whatever you're dealing with, deal with it. Don't bring it out to the public. Don't make a big announcement out of it. And as a matter of fact, he told me that on one of his shows, on the show that he did, he actually won the show. And the show's premise was, we'll give you $100. We give you an old beat up truck and a phone, and you have 90 days to make $1 million business out of this. And so he actually made it. He made a $1.2 million business in 90 days. The other contestant on the show, which I can't tell you the name of him, but he's supposed to be a big guru in the real estate and business creation. He didn't even make it. But the show producers came to him and said, would you mind us making him the winner? And he said, you can do whatever you want. Because in his heart, he had won.
Yeah.
He knows that he's won. He knows that he's better. But he doesn't have to
prove it.
Take someone else's light away.
Yeah. So what would we say to folks then? And I'm talking to both the business owners and the everyday
victims.
And the everyday victims and the everyday folk. Because again, people with this mentality aren't all influencing. Some are just walking around on this earth feeling very downtrodden, feeling very powerless, like the world's against them. If you believe that the world is against you, there are some fundamental issues. First of all, you believe the world is separate from you. That's problem number one. Problem number two is you'll never experience joy or empowerment if you believe that you need to be rescued or saved. Gosh, issue number three, maybe you don't see the divine spark in yourself if you really believe that you have to prove, index your wealth, your status, your intelligence, your story, your history, your comeuppance. Folks who are hyperfixated on the past, that's something we see a lot, both in those who have an obsessive need for control and those with narcissistic traits, which is, I am defined by that which has happened to me. I'm not sure that anyone who's ever had explosive success defines themselves by what's happened to them. They own their past. They take it all as a part of them. And then they say, this is who I want to be.
And if there were any spirituality in them, they would understand that everything and every person, every soul that crosses their path is shaping them. Yeah. It's not taken away from them.
Correct.
And the other thing I think people have to understand is that having humility is probably the number one trait you have to be successful. As I said, you have to be able to walk into a gym and see there's 100 other people who are doing much better than you, who are built, who are stronger, who are fitter. And you can go up to them and say, hey, how'd you do this? How'd you get so tough? How'd you get so buffed? What's your diet regimen? Yeah. But if someone doesn't have humility, like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to do anything. I'm not going to listen to anyone. I'm not going to listen to my friends, my parents. I know what I'm doing. And they start doing what they think they're doing is correct. Yeah. So humility is very important.
It is. And I know I can already hear the argument back from someone saying, well, what about trusting yourself? What about it? What if you go into the gym and like you really want to intuitively let your body lead?
You could do that.
But you can still listen to other people, right?
You could. There are people who come before you. And if you have any book on your shelf that's a self-help book, you're already trying to figure out what other people did so you don't do the same incorrect thing or do the same correct thing. So people, especially in business or in a relationship, that they know what they're doing, they think they know what they're doing, and they're so closed off to any suggestions that they, as soon as you open your mouth, they change the topic or they raise their volume to like, I think you cannot be successful without having an ear to listen to criticism.
So still listen.
You have to listen.
Follow your heart while still listening, still being open. That's something, okay?
Yeah.
You don't have to be closed off in order to follow your heart.
I'm not saying listen to negative people. If I was going to listen to negative people, which are protective people in disguise, in my opinion, my mom would want me to do things a certain way. My brother says, oh, don't, for example, do that. It may hurt you. I'm not saying...
Yeah, don't follow it. Don't follow it, but you can be open to hearing it go by. Ooh.
Open to hear it and see what the message is.
Yeah.
And if it serves you, great. If it doesn't, put it on the shelf for 10 years from now, maybe it'll come in handy. But don't dismiss people. And Glenn Stearns, when he was talking to me over lunch.
Undercover Billionaire, folks.
Undercover Billionaire
just in
on
case
Discovery
you didn't hear it the
Channel.
first 2 times.
That changed the way I talk to my ex-wife. That changed the way I listen to some of my negative clients. That changed the way I looked at things in general and how I can show up. For me, it was extremely easy to have a knee-jerk reaction if someone told me I'm doing something wrong. Well, you're doing something wrong too, you idiot. Or someone told me, hey, my website's not working for me. I'm like, well, you're not working. That was so easy for me to do. That was so easy for me to just shift blame and deflect and thinking I'm the man. But the moment you have this awareness, and you got to practice this.
Yeah.
The way I listen to people, in less than a second, I calculate what that meant. I take out any negative thoughts that I think it may be associated with it. I just take the message and I think for a split moment, what should my reaction be? If my reaction is going to be problematic to that situation, if it's going to be negative, if it's going to add more fuel to the fire, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to come out with something loving to say instead. And people have asked me, how the heck do you do that? How can someone, let's say, blame you for their life's misery, and you come out and say, hey, by the way, I love the way you're raising your kids, for example. Because it has to be, it's not a weakness for me to deflect. I think it takes strength and a lot of patience to look at a situation, dissect it in a couple of seconds, and you don't have to do it as fast as I do. You can take a minute and then respond in kind. But think of what your words can perpetuate and what that trajectory will look like.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Look at the seed. I mean, you realize it's a seed and you look at the plant. Boop,
yeah.
Like real quick in real time, you're like, okay,
yeah.
here's
if I
the
do
seed,
this,
what it'll grow into. Don't want that fruit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something I've learned.
Tell me something.
Gotta change positions for this one because my right leg is falling asleep. Okay. How did I even figure this out? I don't know. A lot of meditation. Meditation has a lot of benefits. We'll talk about that another time. But one thing it's done for me is, like you, it's helped me watch my own mind process. Instead of it automatically happening in the background and then words are coming out of my mouth and I'm not sure where they're coming from or why. Now I see the origins. Like you say, like, oh, this means that. And if I say this, it'll end in that. One thing I've learned is that if I have a guttural triggered reaction to anything anyone says or does, actually 10 out of 10 times, they're probably correct. Mm-hmm. That's what I've learned. Fuck. True story. So now what I do is I just watch myself clench. And then I go, okay, do I have the energy to deal with this? If yes, deal with it. If no, I file it away and fix it on my own time. And it doesn't matter if it's the most simple comment about something like my bangs, which
I've made so many today.
So many. Fortunately, you're right, so it doesn't really matter. And I know you're right. Or if it's something like the way I'm living my life, that's a bigger, deeper thing. It's important to have mirrors in your life. Mm-hmm. I've spent a lot of time alone. And in that time alone, when you do get around other people again, you realize, oh, this is what other people are for. They reflect to you your best and your worst, and both are equally valuable. If we walk through this life thinking that we're the shit and no one's ever going to reflect back to us that we have areas that could still be loved, then we have no humility.
Yeah.
And we're incapable of having any greatness without humility. Because then we're not seeing the full picture. We're just seeing like the curated image that we want to see of ourselves.
Yeah.
Where is the value in that? I understand that I'm phenomenal. I also understand that I'm a monster. Both can be true at the same time. Yeah. And those monstrous aspects come out. And it's my job to rein them in and love the shit out of them. La, 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 la. But if I just pretend I'm only phenomenal, I'm only great, I'm the best, I'm the most magnificent, I'm tremendous, I'm great, then I'm not even seeing real life, whole life, or getting to live a true dynamic experience that I think is the human experience. Last night, as you know, I was laying in my bed crying over the stars. Literally, I'd meditated on the stars, and I was boo-hoo-hooing about how one day humanity will be wiped off the face of the earth. Boo-hoo-hooing about how much I love the human experience. And I love it because it's dirty and it's messy and it's raw and it's filthy and it's nasty. And it's also beautiful and pure and humble and magical and romantic. But you really don't get it unless you see both. Yeah. And without humility and recognizing that you can be so big and also so fucking small, you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
You're going to miss the whole damn thing.
Yeah. I remember when I used to play basketball in college, I used to have a lot of dirty hands. Like my hands were like scratched up, bruised up, bumps and bruises everywhere. And I kept on looking at it and I thought to myself, I love this, right? This is a sign of me going through battles. And a girlfriend at that time that you may know of, she kept on looking at my hands. She's like, wow, those hands are so sexy. I'm like, yeah, but they're all cut up and swollen and scratched and battered. And she said, that's what I like about it. If it was perfect, and that would look fake.
Yeah.
So you got to have those chinks in the armor and you got to embellish them. You say, yep, this is the chink in my armor. This is what happened to me. But I take it all in stride. I think this is part of who made me. Mm-hmm. And yes, some of the things may not be great, but it's part of me.
That's right.
I don't want to hide it. I don't want to pretend I have a wonderful life. Some days I wake up sad and upset, and some days it's better, and some days it's worse. But I'm going through the emotions, and I want my friends, you, Kevin, whoever it is, to see me going through those things. Yeah. Because putting on a smile and getting in a polished up car and like pretending I have the life. This is polished up car.
Just thinking of me agonizing over my car's paint job last night.
But I think authenticity is much more sexy than a fake persona.
And it's powerful. Frequency-wise, it's your magnet. Look, we're sitting here with microphones and headphones. You know that there's an aspect of our persona that likes attention, that likes to be seen. All of those have shadows. Yeah. Every nice thing about us has a shadow side. The only place where I see the people we're talking about so lovingly going wrong, the victims, is that they want to see everybody else's shadow but their own. Yeah. So owning your shadow is authenticity. It takes you out of victimhood and puts you into empowerment. Yeah. But it does require looking in the mirror and going, where did I choose to fuck myself over? Yeah, good times. Triple Shot Mindset.